When the question of my favorite game comes up, I'm never really sure how to answer. I have been a gamer for almost 15 years, and what makes a good game is never universal. Should I say it's Majora's Mask for its silly but melodramatic tone and short rewarding quests? Should I say it's Lies of P for its unique take on Souls-like formula and struggle for humanity? As indecisive as I am, I think now more than ever, I'm confident enough to say that Death Stranding and its sequel are, to me, my most precious experience as a gamer and as a person. My name is LimeLichen, and welcome to the very first of its kind video essay, or rant I guess, that I'll post. I wanted to make videos that required the least amount of editing as possible, as I've been really burned recently with college and life changes. Let me know if you guys want to listen to more of my dumb ideas. Let's begin. Death Stranding isn't your typical action game, as much as you'd hear it in every other video essay which has analyzed its ability to intrinsically motivate the player. I won't linger on it right now, but it comes in when I start talking about its protagonist, Sam Porter Bridges, or Sam Strand. The game rarely rewards your hard work in the typical way. Sam is not an RPG man. He doesn't level up, and delivering doesn't net you currency to spend. Your only reward is getting your ear talked off, or a new schematic for a tool to do better deliveries, crafted with materials which you must still source yourself if any given settlement doesn't have the resources to spare. I appreciated that the only reason to keep on keeping on is all in your head. Why bother lugging around these heavy-ass boxes with thermonuclear bombs, sperm and eggs, or 3D print heads? Well, you do it because the preppers and the people of the cities depend on you. They blab on and on about their problems in endless emails which you can never reply to. And after you raise their connection levels, they are vulnerable with Sam despite his inability to return any words of comfort or guidance. Your capacity to care is exactly what keeps the world turning, and I love that the game legitimately makes you interested in their well-being and their safety. Sam, however, never reflects this in his actions. He is silent apart from the rare one-liner during combat or callouts using the select button.
Hey! Over here! Hey! Anyone?
Keep on keeping up.
Hey! Hey!
He is quite the mysterious figure for the majority of the game. The only clue we get is a picture of his family he carries with him, and his relationship with his adopted sister as his reason for connecting the world. It isn't until Dead Man spells it out for us, or you could figure it out through the various notes and journals unlocked through Data Chip Collection, that Sam has had a rough life, to say the least. Sam's entire existence has been a scourge on the earth, and he hates it. Sam was the very first bridge baby, born from a brain-dead mother and excised to remain in a pod for its connection to the world of the dead. His father, Clifford Unger, is killed in his attempts to free him, but then is resurrected by Bridget Strand to pull the strings in her plan to bring about human extinction. We could go on and on, but what is more relevant to this video is Sam's trauma, because of his origin. Sam is a repatriate. Because of his resurrection, he can no longer die permanently. He can be shot, blown up, disintegrated, eaten, and he will simply come back. And because of his powers, he's also a dooms sufferer, a disorder that causes night terrors and chiral allergies, but grants sufferers powers based on their connection to death. He cannot stand the touch of another person, however. They leave painful and permanent marks on his body due to his aphantasmophobia, so he isolates himself for the majority of his life. His only good interactions were with his sister in her beach, a sort of purgatory world, and with his therapist, Lucy, whom he falls in love with. After marrying her, she gets pregnant and later suffers from the same nightmares as someone with dooms, leading to her untimely suicide. The resulting BT and Void Out took a chunk out of Central Knot City, while Sam was left unharmed. He lost everything he cared about, and threw himself into his work to avoid the guilt. He recused himself from humanity and became nothing more than a tool, for the Bridges Corporation, for his country, and for the player. He hates himself to no end. He feels responsible for the suffering of the entire world, and why shouldn't he? By the end of the game, he is revealed to be the catalyst of the Death Stranding event itself, and that is precisely what I connected with. When the director's cut was released, it was about 2 years after the COVID-19 pandemic that had rocked the real world, forcing everyone indoors and in fear of a new disease threatening their livelihoods, their lifestyles, and the lives of everyone they knew. It was during this time my own family was a victim of the disease like many others. First my father, then my mother were hospitalized to leave me and my sister to fend for ourselves for months. Not without the help of many family friends, but I was the only one who didn't get very sick, so I had to take the caregiver role. Never mind, I was but 12 years old. Later, my father returned, still bloodied but nevertheless recovering. But my mother wasn't so lucky. It was another 2 months of her hospitalization before it was clear recovery was nothing more than a pipe dream. When she died, what replayed in my mind weren't fond memories or songs she'd sing or anything that could have comforted me in that moment. It was all the things I could have done to stop it. To stop what, you ask? How could a child stop the spread of a disease permeating the air across the world? I don't even know. To me, if I could have been more careful with safety in public, more attentive to symptoms before they became deadly, and more faithful to our God that we wouldn't be touched by the plague striking fear all around, then maybe, just maybe, my mother would still be here. Maybe we could have stayed as one happy family and we could have laughed it off like it was a funny coincidence we lived through history. But we didn't get that. Instead, we got the empty home, the silence in the halls, the dust collecting on everything we dared not to touch, and all the time in the world to think, what if? The very last dream I ever had of her, and to this day is the only one, was her appearing to me in a corpse's linen. I reached out to her hand before she was blown away like sand. I felt the most responsible because I had always had a self-loathing edge to me, but now without a mother to guide me, and a father so wrought and empty with grief, I had every opportunity to listen to every voice screaming to me that I could have done something to help. My life didn't get any better after that. If I'm being honest, I was turned fragile. I isolated myself, pushed everyone away with a callous and careless persona. I saw my existence as a scourge of the earth, damning everyone I ever loved into turmoil. So I wanted them far away from me because I thought I was toxic to the touch, like a dart frog. Sam and I shared in this pain. It wasn't just Sam who suffered from this painful mindset. Numerous characters we meet all feel the same way for one reason or another. Dead Man hates his nature as an artificial birth, made from harvested organs from those less fortunate than him. Fragile's brand was forever tainted by terrorists making disguised delivery of bombs that killed thousands. To make amends to herself, she sacrificed her body to save another city threatened by Higgs. Hartman's quest is fueled by his guilt for surviving the void out which claimed his family's lives, and so endlessly searches the beaches of others to find them and die with them. Mama is only alive because her sister's surrogate baby kept her alive through the beach connection during a blackout, and now she waits in her shop, wishing her sister would just let her apologize for leaving her. Die Hardman lived through wars, being saved by his commander, Unger, and is the one who pulled the trigger, killing Sam and Clifford, and setting the course for the destruction of the world. These people now live with their identities drawn from the very worst things they've ever done. It's something I related to so heavily, and why I ended up being drawn to their problems. The cast of characters are trauma-bonded to their perceived sins, and their work for Bridges Corporation is done for a punishment, an atonement for their existence. Sam especially only really agrees to help Bridges connect the USA to the chiral network because his sister had been kidnapped, and she was the last bastion of humanity Sam felt any connection to. He delivers, fights, and keeps trekking, if only to save her and make everything normal again. But that was never going to happen. He's played for a fool, and it's revealed that she and Bridget were one and the same, a supernatural extinction entity with the power to wipe life off the face of the planet. And even after saving the planet, Sam still feels empty. Throughout the whole game, as it becomes clearer and clearer that we weren't really saving Amelie, Sam, and by extension, we the players, pressed on. This was where the intrinsic motivation came in full swing. The thing that drives Sam forward is his humanity, his concern for his friends and customers. Sam doesn't receive anything amazing for his delivery of a woman to her lost fiancé, nor his retrieval of heirlooms from a destroyed city, nor his restoration of the highways of the UCA. His only reward for the majority of the time is likes, and an increase in connection levels, which, like I said earlier, hardly reward you, but with schematics you still have to craft yourself. But I felt like I had to help those people, like they depended on me to get out there and give them what they needed. It is this empathy and need for connection that brings Sam back from the brink.
I'll talk to her. Maybe she'll listen. But with the shape the world's in, it'll only be delaying the inevitable. Still, if it buys us time to try and build something better, a new lease on life, at least for a little bit, well, I can think of one woman who made the most of a chance like that. Nothing lasts forever, not even the world. But we gotta keep it going as long as we can, right? Patch the holes, change the parts, all that. So we can say we had a good run, that we lived.
Thought you didn't like having to handle things with care.
'Cause it was hard enough keeping my own shit together. Back when we met at the cave, the only thing I cared about was making it to the next sunrise. Sure as hell didn't care about America or the future. I was living a lie, hung up on past regrets. I was broken. But somewhere along the way, I started changing. Started meeting people that made me think that maybe it wasn't all bad. People that put their faith in tomorrow, and in me. That kept the lights on, and waited for hope to arrive. So I gotta deliver, for their sake.
Even if it means you never come back?
Fucked if I do, fucked if I don't, right?
By his own admission, it was the connection and empathy that made him realize he couldn't stay stuck in his own life by his sins. When I returned to watch this scene again, it broke me down to no end. Forgiveness was the only end to the misery, to our guilt, and a restoration in our ability to keep on keeping on. Sam knows this now, even when faced with the prospect of his imprisonment on the beach. He acts not for himself and not because he wants to die, but for the world he now loves. When he hugs Amelie on the beach, he was saying that even if you feel like you were born to destroy, it's always a choice, to change, to keep fighting and say, I can still do right by you. And when in a fit of tears, Die Hardman begs Sam for forgiveness,
Please.
he is still stuck in his
Let me
ways of
finish.
self-hatred and self-flagellation.
The captain, saved my life. You know why they call me Die Hardman. Because he wouldn't let me die. He brought my sorry ass back home every time. And I loved him as much as I loved her. And when he stared me down, that ghost, I knew he was here to kill me, to make it right. And why shouldn't he? He wanted me to do this, to keep on being Die Hardman.
No, he didn't. Nobody wants a president who acts like they're immortal. And if you're not scared of death, how can you value life? And life is pretty fucking fragile right now. And yeah, the old ways die hard. But that's what's gonna have to happen if we're gonna come together and build a better America. That gun won't help you here. That's her words, not mine.
The gun that ties all the story together, the violence, the hatred, is useless. Forgiveness is the only tool for healing. Sam learns this. He forgave himself, at least partly for his past. He forgave Die Hardman even when he knew the truth. And even when he pushed Fragile away at the end, Sam knew he couldn't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So he revived BB after her decommission, and he left his old life behind. That gun won't help you here. Words that meant more than just a condemnation of violence, but an end to all cycles. To do something different because repeating those cycles is insanity. Today, one day at a time, I try to do better. I went to therapy and I'm trying to heal those wounds opened so long ago, but so deeply they bled upon every movement. This game taught me that I could forgive myself, that I could change for the better and not lie down and die and accept the void. That's what humans do best. And it's what I lost when I stopped seeing myself as human. If anyone out there feels the same way, like they're inhuman because of poor choices or trauma and survivor's guilt, know that there is a way out of that hole, but it starts with you and your capacity to forgive yourself and to change what we do. We can reach out, call someone, do something other than the same thing. You too can change and feel human once again.